Ok. Dobrodošli ponovo u studio. Ja sam Tomislav Krasnec, novinar Večernjeg lista. S nama su troje veleposlanika. Veleposlanik Austrije, gospodin Widerhof, veleposlanica Nizozemske, gospođa Birens i zamjenik veleposlanika Francuske, gospodin Dalme. Jedno hrvatskoj poznato ime. This was only in Croatian. I just introduced you. And we'll continue in English. So welcome here.
Thank you.
Tell us for the beginning, Mr. Widenhoff, how is life for diplomat in Croatia compared to other diplomatic posts that you had in your career before? We know you were based in Brussels as well.
Yeah.
So how is Zagreb compared to not only to Vienna but also to Brussels?
Yeah. Good afternoon first, and thank you very much for inviting us here. I think being ambassador, being Austrian ambassador in Croatia is probably one of the most interesting, if not the most interesting post one can have as Austrian ambassador. The ties between the two countries are very close. There's a deep friendship from day one of Croatia's independence on. Croatia is the preferred tourism destination of more than 1 million Austrian holidaymakers every year. And it is also home to 700 Austrian companies who have invested here in Croatia. So the workload is huge for an ambassador here, but it's probably the best and the most interesting post, definitely.
Yeah, Austrians are really one of the biggest investors in Croatia, and what we need in the future for economic recovery as well is, again, direct foreign investments. You probably talked to Austrian investors who already invested here. What is their impression? I mean, in your mind, did they have a good impression, good experience in investing in Croatia? And do you think Austrian and other foreign investors will, continue to come to Croatia and invest?
What I understand from Austrian investors is they choose Croatia because of the strategic geographic location of the country, of the skillful people whom they can employ. Obviously, I mean, whenever an additional Austrian company is investing here, that is a success story not only for Croatia but also for the Austrian ambassador. It is clear that they are regularly evaluating the business climate. What they are asking for is a certain form of predictability of the overall framework, including taxes, including legal security whatsoever. But the fact that there are 700 of them here, and they have created roughly 35,000 jobs here in Croatia, is an expression of the fact that also Austrian businesses are a partner of Croatia's economy and the Croatian people.
Madam Birens, you represent a country that I often cheer for when I watch football. Not only because I like the football they play, but also because they have a flag that is similar to Croatian, red, white and blue. How is your experience in Croatia? How do you like Zagreb, and connections between Netherlands and Croatia, similarities and differences in your view?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me here today, and I actually do the same for your football teams. So in that sense, and soccer is one of the things that two countries have in common. Croatia is easy to like. It's one of the best and most popular postings in our foreign service. And my work is pretty much alike that of the Austrian ambassador. You are actually a kind of matchmaker. You try to see what Croatia has to offer, what the Netherlands has to offer, and where you can bring businesses and people into contact. It's a grateful country to live in. Lots of opportunities here. Not always easy, but that is where you have, as a diplomat, added value.
And we'll get back again to Netherlands, but let me just hear something from Mr. Dalme.
How long have you been in Zagreb?
I arrived 1 year ago,
And it's very great pleasure to live in Zagreb and in Croatia, because there are so many opportunities from Zagreb to discover, of course, Croatia, but not only to discover the entire Europe from Zagreb, and it's very, very interesting. One thing which is also very interesting is that now we are two EU partners. Mm-hmm. And for us, it's very important to improve our bilateral relationship as two EU members in a large rank of area. I mean, of course, in a cultural area. Last year we organized, as you know, an important cultural festival in all Croatia, which was the best response that we try to bring to your festival, Croatia in France, in 2012. And of course, our economic relationship is getting better and better every year. And of course, with the major project of the airport in Zagreb.
Yeah, we'll see the new airport very soon. Yeah.
Absolutely, it will be definitely a great success. We do think. And there are so many things to work together, to do together, and that's why it's really very interesting to work here in Zagreb.
Mm-hmm. Let me just get back to Madam Birens. All of you, I mean, were invited last weekend to Istria by President, Madam Kolinda Grabar-Kitarovic. Can we hear your impression about the trip? And was any politics discussed, or was it just pleasure?
It's very difficult for diplomats to be in one group with Croatian politicians and civil service and not to speak about politics. So you always do, but that's part of our leisure work as well. We were invited to Istria, and Madam President showed us some of the beautiful sites and truffles, which we tasted as well. And it was most of all an informal opportunity to be together and communicate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mr. Ambassador, what we hear is that you're a big fan of Zagreb city center, and especially the market, Dolac. And I know that some of the words must sound familiar, like for example, Grinzajk.
Indeed, yes. I mean,
so you communicate very easily with the people on the market, or?
Yeah, I try my best, and people also try to understand what I mean. And indeed, if I have some spare time during the weekends, I like going to Zagreb's cafes, like people from Zagreb do, and go to the markets and buy some fresh vegetables. And I very much like the atmosphere, because for an ambassador, it's important not to sit in the office only or in meetings with officials or business people, but also get a feeling about the country. And I indeed learn a lot about the people and about the country when I go to the markets, and I very much like this.
Were you surprised to find out that many of the words that are used in Zagreb are actually sound like?
Yeah, so there are many words, especially when it comes to food, which are very close to Viennese, Austrian, German. But nevertheless, there is still a lot of work for me to do when it comes to understanding, let alone speaking, the Croatian language. But I'm trying hard.
And Mr. Dalme, may I just ask you? We're talking about Zagreb only, and of course, Croatia is not Zagreb. You mentioned you were in Split recently, and we hear, you can correct it if I'm wrong, that you're a Hajduk Split fan.
Yes, definitely. Last year in October, I was in Split because it was the 70th anniversary of the French medal from the French troops in order to award the Split, the Hajduk, because they played during the Second World War. The Hajduk played against the the French troops. And it was a good opportunity to show how during the Second World War the Hajduk and the French troops played together.
And who won, the troops
football.
or Hajduks played?
Football. And but last week, for instance, I was in Slavonia in order to support the relationships between Pleternica and Gignac, which is a small city in France. And the week before, I was also in Lipik to support another partnership with Coucy-le-Château. So we try to work with all parts of Croatia because it's very important to be on the ground, as you have already mentioned.
Good. Let's all hope it stays that way and the partnership and cooperation improves. I want to thank you for your time and for this talk, and hvala I svima koji su nas gledali.
Hvala lijepa.
Good.
Thank you so much.